Hey, good morning on my last full day in Turks and Caicos Island, and I would like to talk about Turks and Caicos Island while I'm still here. Um, so I arrived on Tuesday, January 7th, a week ago yesterday. And of course, as soon as I got here, it was just very hot. It was warm. I won't say hot. It wasn't sweltering, but it was warm. And I made my way up to the Blue Hills, wheeling up in Blue Hills, part of Turks and Caicos Island. And of course, I learned a lot about the island. There were the Turks Island, there's a Grand Turks, and several other islands, and it's lots of them apparently. And they decided, so you had a string of islands called Caicos, you had a string of islands called Turks, and they decided to combine the two islands, and that's how we ended up with Turks and Caicos Island. So of course they have an interesting history, centered around the slave trade in the 16th and 17th centuries, and it's the same old story. Yesterday, on Tuesday, I did get to go to the Turks and Caicos Museum, which is a small museum, because basically all they have is a timeline, and then a woman talks to you about some things. She tells you a little story about the Turks and Caicos flag, and how some error was made and it stayed that way, and then it was changed again. And of course, everybody knows that Turks and Caicos is I guess you can call it a British colony. What else? A British Commonwealth or something. But oddly enough, they do use the U.S. dollar. So one of the things that's so striking is that last week, the week before I was to come here, was when I first found out about how expensive it was to for food. Because food is the one thing, if you here and you don't have nothing else you want to buy, you have to allow for food. So food is very expensive. It seems to me more than double what it would cost back in the States. Higher than Whole Foods. Like shockingly high. Gas is over $5 a gallon. And, when I saw that video about the shocking things of Turks and Caicos, I guess it must have had the issue of the cost of food on the list. That was one of the things. But some of the other things that I didn't find was so shocking. But something that is shocking is the fact that they do not have a post office where a postman delivers the mail to you every day. They don't have a postal system. They have a post office so that you can mail things, but it's not such that somebody comes and delivers mail to outside your house every day. They don't have that. That's shocking to me. My host told me that if you want to get mail, you have it sent to a P.O. box. Period. That's it. And so, of course, I was looking at mailing postcards to a couple of people, but apparently the cost of stamps is a lot. The postcards were 75 cents each, which is high. But I bought a couple cards. And then I decided, you know what? I'm going to fill out the cards, and when I get back home, when I get back to Georgia, I'm going to mail it from there. Because apparently, because the postal system is such that it is, I was told, and it was emphasized that, hey, you can mail us now, but they're not going to get it for months. Months to get things. Months to get things that were shipped through the mail from Turks and Caicos. So that's a little shocking to me. There are no traffic lights. What they have are speed bumps and traffic circles. Lots of traffic circles, which kind of helps to keep the traffic moving. And traffic is nothing like it is in major cities in the States, Atlanta, New York. I was going to rent a car because my host made me feel confident that I could do it. Yes, you can do it. All you got to do is think before you turn. Well, she don't understand. some things she didn't understand, but and you know, that's fine because she doesn't know me. But a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine, said, Ruthie, don't you rent a car. Do not rent a car, Ruthie. And I thought about it, and I thought of reasons for why I shouldn't rent a car in Turks and Caicos. And I talked myself out of it. I said, nope, I'm not doing that. One thing about driving in a strange place, you have to know the road. And by knowing the road, I mean knowing where you need to make turns and you know, landmarks and different things. My host, she gave me a detailed description of how to get to her house. But then I said, no, because I know driving in Georgia, if you don't know where you're going or you're going there for the first time, it's kind of unnerving. And then with them driving on the left side, I knew. I said, nope. I said, I can't do it. And after I got here and rode around with a couple of drivers, jitney drivers, I was so glad that I didn't do it because I know how my mind works. I know how it is. I would all of a sudden forget that I'm driving in the town that I'm in, and I would make a wrong turn, and you make a wrong turn, that's all it takes. So I'm glad I didn't do that. So the speed bump seems to help to keep traffic to some extent. There's no mass transit system, yes. That's believable. But you know what? To me, the jitneys are the mass transit system. Jitney to me is better than Lyft or Uber. And I asked about Uber and Lyft. And then, you know, I thought to myself, maybe it's a good idea they don't have Uber or Lyft, because the way it works in the States is, you know, you work, and drive, and then somebody else gets a portion of your money. Whereas with the jitney business, they're 100% owner of the funds that they get. I do believe that they got to pay for registration and getting your car legal and stuff like that. But I think that the jitney business is slowly becoming regulated. You know, one of the things people talked about is, oh well, somebody tried to discourage me from taking a jitney by telling me, and they're not insured, and if you're in an accident, so you want to risk your life. He wanted to charge me $50 to come where I've been staying, which is out in Wheeling in the Blue Hills. And the jitney drivers charged me $5. I can give them $5. But $50? I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And see, the thing about when you get to a place like this, you have to befriend a local. Befriend somebody you feel good, you feel okay with, and you can talk to them. And a lot of the jitney drivers are Haitian, so they're kind of talking broken English, but you kind of get the message. You understand what they're saying. You know, you got to dope it out a little. I suppose if you have a translator, you can take it out and do that. But, you know, I'd rather, you know, talk to people face to face. And I met some really nice people, nice drivers. Tomorrow is the day I go back to the airport for my flight back. And I already have a driver lined up that's going to come and get me and take me to the airport. He was very nice. One night, on my first night out, when I stayed out like really late, 10 o'clock. That was when the guy was trying to charge me $50, and I called him up because he had said he would be working and he would come get me. He was asleep in his bed. He got up, he came and got me and brought me back to Wheeling. I was so grateful because I didn't know nobody else to trust, and I wasn't paying nobody $50, but he was very nice, and you know, I paid him. I was generous. I paid him generously. And mind you, it's a $5 ride normally, but I didn't mind. I sure didn't mind helping him out because he did something for me. So, you know, when you come to places like this, I feel like you should befriend the locals because they're the ones who knows things that you don't know. And you can't be afraid. And even if you are a little bit afraid, like last night I got a cab, a jitney back, and it was $5. He was nice, and he had to drop somebody else off before he dropped me off, and it was in an area that was really rough, and I can tell it's a high crime area. And just yesterday, for the first time, I purchased a newspaper, a local newspaper, because I'm a newspaper person, just so that I could see what's going on around the islands. And I read some really interesting things. And I didn't realize one of the things about Turks and Caicos is that TCI faces conch crisis. That means that if they had seasons for conch many years ago, the conch population would not be threatened. So now the conch population is threatened. Restaurants sometimes do not have it. And of course, people call and ask, do you have conch? And I suppose that must happen more out in the heavily tourist area, which is Grace Bay. That must happen often. There's lots of restaurants there, lots of them. So when people call and they don't have, conch is not on the menu, you know, it's kind of causing a problem. And so conch is obviously becoming extinct because they have oversourced it, overfishing blamed on plummeting ocean stocks, forced national dish off the menu. That's the subtitle of that heading, of that headline. So that to me, that's shocking. I had no idea. And see, right now I'm here middle of January, and it's lobster season. So lobsters have seasons. And the thing that would have saved the conch population if they had conch seasons. But I know for a fact that conch is popular all over the Caribbean. It's become a delicacy. One restaurant was forced to raise their one conch dish from $17 to $25. Yes. Wow. So it's becoming very, very expensive. I've only eaten one conch thing since I've been here, and that was a conch burger from Froggy's up in Blue Hills. And it was great. Conch has the consistency of calamari, fried calamari. So that's what it was like. I think the thing that it needed was some bang bang sauce. It would have been, oh my goodness, I can't even tell you how good it would have been. They needed some bang bang sauce. I'm going back up to it today for my last meal, but it's going to be a lobster dish. And I'm gonna suggest that, you know, they have something in the States called bang bang sauce. And you know, it should just be an option. It should just be an option if you order a conch burger. So, yeah. So one of the other things that was in the weekly news for Turks Caicos was terrorized and tormented. Blue Hills residents speak out about rising levels of crime. So I'm out in the Blue Hills. I'm out in Wheeling. Wheeling is in the Blue Hills. And I can tell driving out here is rough. It's rural. It's what you would call rural. Yeah, so it's out. It's way out. It's way out. It's got to be, gosh, I would say anywhere from 10 to 15 miles away from Grace Bay. Yes. And of course, if you switch it to, convert it to kilometers, it would seem shorter. But yeah, in the terms of miles, that's how far I'd have to say that it is. Last night I was caught up in, I guess it was rush hour. It was after 6 o'clock. It's dark here at 6 o'clock, and then we're on the same time zone as Eastern United States. At first, I was on the, for some reason, I don't know why, I thought that they were an hour ahead of us. And my host assured me, she said, nope, it's the same time here as it is in Miami. So I'm glad we got that straight. So, of course, in reading the weekly news, you know, politics. Gotta have politics. And it seems like it's just the same as it is all over the world. People making decisions that's leaving the majority of the people poor. Everywhere you go. And looking in the classified section of the paper, and there's lots of ads for different things: gardener, cleaner, maintenance worker, construction laborer, store clerk, lots of different things, domestic workers. But one thing I noticed is that a lot of jobs are paying $6.50. maybe $6.25. I think $6.25 is the smallest amount I've seen. But some jobs, of course, are more. Maintenance workers, $8. Construction laborers, $7. And domestic workers, $6.50 an hour. Cleaning, sweeping, mopping, bathroom, toilets, kitchen, living room, other work. Must be willing to work 5 days a week. Oh, it's just lots of jobs at $6.50 an hour. So my thing is, how are people supposed to survive at $6.50 an hour in a place that's so expensive to live? Food. That's the most basic thing. Food is very, very expensive. Very expensive. I posted a lot of the prices of things that I came across in Grace, the Grace supermarket. Grace Bay supermarket. Really nice market. You know, have a deli area, prepared foods, everything you could find, everything you could want. But it is really expensive. I think I spent less than $100 in a Grace Bay supermarket. I'm not getting anything else because everything that I have now, I need to try to eat it before tomorrow. I didn't eat out very much. I bought some things yesterday. I bought a Jamaican beef patty. I bought some things at the supermarket also. A really good coleslaw with raisin salad. And I took it to the beach with me. I didn't like the hummus that much. And I didn't like the crackers that I paid $5 for. The watermelon was just okay. It wasn't sweet. And the only reason why I bought it was packaged. It was, sliced and packaged. It was under $5. So because I was spending the day on the beach, I went ahead and G'd for it. What else did I buy? Some chocolate. Oh my goodness. Some chocolate. And anyway, I just had to make sure I had enough food, so I wouldn't be hungry while on the beach. 2 bottles of water also that were 59 cents each. So that was a bargain. I also had a cup of decaf coffee that was really good, and it wasn't from a Starbucks. And the smallest cup was, I think, $2.80. Yes, for the smallest cup of coffee. So it was okay. It was okay. I just didn't, buy a lot of things. Because I find that sometimes I have a tendency to overeat. That means I overspend, and then I'm not eating all of the things. So I said no. And after being in New York, I was in New York City for a couple of weeks ago. I ate like the 3 little pigs in New York. So I was like, you know what? You could just live off some body fat. So I'm good. So being in Turks and Caicos, it was a great experience. It's a lovely place. I gotta say though, the weather was very, very wonky. And it rained a lot, very, very windy. They're always paying attention to the winds because if lots of businesses are on the beach. I was supposed to go out to see a band on Sunday night, and he had told me, the leader of the band, the singer, said that, if it's too windy, they're going to cancel the event. So I didn't hear from him the next day, so I imagine it was canceled. And where I'm staying in Blue Hills, it gets really windy here, but the beach is back that way. And at the beach, I was at the beach on Sunday, and it was brutal. But I stayed out there for like 2 hours just because the scenery is pretty, and all I could hear is the wind whistling through my ears. That's all. I couldn't even hear myself think. And so I knew, because I had checked, I knew that the winds were going to die down for Tuesday, and that's why I chose Tuesday to go to the museum and the Heritage House, and also to spend some time on Grace Bay Beach, which is a beautiful beach, so pretty. You walk out there and you see that turquoise water. It takes your breath away. It's just, I could sit at the beach all day and look at pretty water. But the weather kept changing. The water would change, a dark greenish blue, and then And it was because of the weather. The clouds would come in and it would start raining here, but the sun is out. And I didn't get to spend nearly as much time on the beach as I would have liked to, because it rained most of the time. It rained on and off. I had gone on Saturday to Grace Bay to spend the day on the beach. And Grace Bay is where all the tourists are. You know, parts of the beaches, some hotels don't have public beach access, so you have to go through a place that, like the Oasis, so you could have access to the beach, and you know, and the beaches were never crowded, and the sand on the beaches was so soft and silky. It was powdery sand. And that strip of beaches, you know, on Grace Bay, it's a long strip. You know, I'm sure people like walk for miles. I wanted to do that, but since I was alone, I didn't want to leave my things, so I didn't want to risk that. But I'm sure I could have, but I didn't do that because I had some important stuff with me. But the beach is beautiful. It's beautiful. And yesterday, when I went, the sky was clear for most of the day, but you never can tell when the wind is just going to move the clouds in, and then next thing you know, there's a dark cloud on the horizon, and it's raining again. At night, it was, it can be really just brutal wind. I went last week. I went to the Thursday fish fry. Now, apparently the Thursday fish fry is something that people know about because it's been talked about on TripAdvisor. And of course, I need to go to TripAdvisor and put down my opinion of the Thursday night fish fry, which is at the beginning of Grace Bay, where the beaches start. It's at a national park. I think it's Princess Alexandra National Park. That's the beginning of Grace Bay, the very tip of it. And of course, you could get, jitney drivers to drop you off and stuff. But like I said, you want to get a driver that's going to come back and get you when you want them to, and take you where you need to go. And all of the other regulated cabs are there, because lots of groups of people go to the fish fry, and it was fun. The fish fry was fun, lots of merchants, and it's a way for the local businesses to make money because the tourists are there, and people are spending, everybody's happy, and it's kind of like a huge food truck festival. Because everybody's got their, it's typical dishes, jerk this, jerk that, chicken, pork, lobster, conch salad. A guy was making conch ceviche, and they're chopping up things, and they have everything. They have the gift things, they have the touristy things, but things are very, very expensive. Just so expensive. I didn't even want to look. I did ended up buying something at the museum on yesterday, but at the Thursday fish fry, stuff was so expensive. I splurged for food. I had a drink. I had a good time. I really had a good time. I really liked the band. They was really cutting up, and they had a mistress of ceremony who was cutting up with the guests and things. She made people come out who were celebrating things like marriages, weddings, anniversaries, birthdays, divorces. And they made a big deal about it. They had what was it? The Island Boys Junkanoo band came, and they did a march through. And if you've ever been to Junkanoo, it's kind of like a New Orleans second line. It's just a rhythm that they just keep it going for hours. And people follow them around, dancing. And so they did that for a bit, and it rained. It rained hard. It rained hard at that event. So you may want to, if you have a poncho, you should get you a poncho and just keep it handy, because it can start raining at any time in Turks and Caicos. Anytime. Just keep your poncho. If you got a fold-up umbrella, keep that, unless you just don't mind getting wet. But at the Thursday night fish fry, when it started raining, we ran under the tarp. Everybody scattered. It rained for about, I would say, less than 5 minutes. But of course, the band was worried about. They were worried about their stuff getting wet, and they did. You know, some of it got covered up, but they were still worried about the wind. And the event went on way longer than it was supposed to, because from what I understood, it was supposed to go until 9:30, but it went until it was 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, maybe after 10 o'clock before it ended. And yeah, the band was really cool, nice guys, great music, a lot of hop around stuff. I had a real good time. I had a blast. I don't know about nobody else, but yeah. So the Thursday night fish fry is definitely worth it's worth experiencing. It really is. You know, somebody described it as overrated. No, I didn't think it was overrated. It can get a little crazy. The lines get long. I was there early. I was at the beach at like 3 o'clock, so I hung around. And when everybody had just prepared their foods and everything was ready, that's when I ordered my stuff, because I'm like, I don't believe in standing on lines. Not for food. So I had all my stuff. And they had picnic tables all around, so you could, you know, get a table and sit and eat your food. And so that's nice. You didn't have to stand up and eat or try to hold your styrofoam tray on your lap. So that was good. That was good. The food was great. I had some peas and rice from Froggy's, the place I'm going to tonight. Their peas and rice is really, really good. Very good. I had a really good pina colada from the rum hut, the rum shack. That was very nice. So it's been a really great experience. I liked being here, and you know, as a solo traveler through the world, solo tripping. That's what I'm doing. Solo tripping through the world. I always take the time for when I'm traveling to just do nothing. And when I say do nothing, I mean just chill. Just chill. I don't always have to be ripping and running. If I'm always ripping and running, well, what's the point? I'm not getting no rest and relaxation. For 2 days, there was 2 days I didn't go anywhere. I didn't spend any money. I'm happy not to spend money. And it's not burning a hole in my pocket. So I really appreciate, you know, relaxing and getting to know the place. Now I'm getting used to this Blue Hills area, because you know, I've been traveling, and I made sure I could tell a jitney driver how to get here, because when I first got here, something happened to me just like my host said it would. She said, and she had given me explicit directions. So, you know, when I told the guy, oh, I'm going to Wheeling, it's out in the Blue Hills, it's off of Millennium Highway, you know, he knew how to do all of that. But once he got in the neighborhood, he turned in, he drove around and made me think he knew what house to go to, and he really did it. And even me having those directions that she had given me, he still didn't know. He still couldn't find it. You know, she gave me landmarks to use to make it easier. He still ended up putting me out in front of the wrong house. I ended up sitting at the wrong house for a while. I don't even know how long I sat there, because I wasn't really keeping track of time. But I was in a neighborhood where there's lots of dogs in the streets, and, you know, the dogs acting like they're going to attack. But the thing about the dogs is they're just being territorial. So what you need to do is ignore them. If you ignore them, you'll be fine, because that's the only reason they're barking. They want you to know that they're there. So the guy gave me, and this was a regulated driver from the airport, charged me $23 to bring me out here, which is okay, because my host told me it would be. She said if I took a jitney, don't let them charge you more than $35. I'm like, what? And I could have given the jitney driver $5, but I don't think the jitneys can pick up at the airport. So you can't get a jitney at the airport. But yeah, a jitney driver would have taken $5 to bring me from the airport, and I paid the first guy in the regulated cab $23. And he brought me to the wrong place. So I was sitting at the house that was the wrong house for a while. And so finally I started walking down the street. I put my stuff on the porch and I left it there. I was like, okay, if somebody needs my stuff, they can have it. And I walked to the house next door and I told her, I said, you know, I'm supposed to be at house number 37. I said, this house says 37, but the front of the house does not meet the description that I was given. She giving me, you know, detailed description. House is yellow with a green chain link fence, and the shutters, the color of the shutters, she said they were red, but really they're rust. And she gave me a street name, but I didn't see that street name anywhere on any signs on either end of the street. So when the guy dropped me off at 37, he just dropped me off. It was clearly not the house that in the description, but he was getting impatient, and I was like, okay. So I figured I had to be in the right vicinity. I knew I was in the right vicinity. So when I knocked on the lady's house door, she was so nice. She got in her car, took all my stuff, and drove me 2 streets over to the correct house. Yep. So that was how I got to the correct house. Then when I got to the correct house, I didn't have no internet access. I couldn't get into the house. The dogs was outside barking at me like I was trying to break in. And I was just tired. I needed a shower. I was hungry. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Finally, I was able to get internet access some kind of way. I was told how to get the key out the lockbox, and I was able to make it in. And when I got here on my first day, and this is what I do usually when I arrive someplace, I try and get me enough sleep. I went to bed at by 5 o'clock, I was in the bed, and I slept all night. I stayed in bed the rest of the night. I didn't come out when I heard the host come in. I just stayed there and kept sleeping. And I had a single room, twin room, no, single, just me. But the other room had 2 other people in it, and it has a king-size bed. And so they, you know, they were in and out, but they left a couple of days after I got here. And so for most of my stay, I've been the only one here, just me and my host. And so it's been nice, and I've gotten used to being in the neighborhood. I walked to a couple of supermarkets. The first supermarket I walked to, that lady was a nice, good Lord. She didn't even look at me. Didn't say thank you. I was like, good Lord, you got rude people. I don't care where you go. So the next time I went to a market, it was on the Millennium Highway, and it was at a place called Anice's Variety Store, Miss Anice's Variety Store. And a young lady there named Jennifer, she was Dominican, she was very sweet, very nice. And I was telling her how the lady acted. She was like, I don't know, why do people feel like they have to act like that? I said, I don't know, because it's much easier to be nice. Yeah. But yeah, I've met some really nice people, so it's been a really, really nice experience. And there you have it. Most of my experience of solo tripping through the world in Turks and Caicos Island. And I know I need to start me a travel blog. I need to ask somebody, so how difficult is it to set up a Wix website? I know I can do it. RuthieWorldTravels, solo tripping through the world.